This is IQ Domino coming back at y'all with another motherfucker bang of a video. Now today we're gonna be going over Myron debates. Mohammad Hijab claims his 50 body count rule is destructive. This should be interesting.
Okay. Let's move on to the next thing, brother. We can think about this in our own time. Religion. I wanted to speak about more your stuff, guys, because I know you guys do intersexual dynamics. Let me ask you a question, guys. I want to get to it, which is, what do you decide is a high value man? And I want Myron on this one as well, because we spoke about religion. I let people decide what they think is right, but you guys are, let's say, you're specialists now. This is your area. I want to pick your brains a little bit, because I think you don't know, your impact is actually quite a significant impact. And I think that you actually made some very interesting contributions, especially what now they call it the men's rights movement, or, men's activism and so on. And I think some of your contributions, frankly, are good. I've heard some of them. I watched on YouTube. I wanted to start with this question. What do you guys think is a high value man? How do you define it?
You want to go first? Go ahead.
You good?
No, you go ahead, man.
Nah, I don't want to continue real quick. I gotta.
Okay.
I want to go further in religion, but it's fine. Go ahead.
No, I mean y'all can if you guys want. After
let's change topic.
So, I mean, this is a subjective thing, right? For everyone, it's going to be different. So I don't really think there's a truly wrong or right answer. But what I will say is that it's going to probably err on the side of obviously a higher earner than average, someone who has respect from other individuals, has a network of people that are also on his level as far as status, whether it's financial, social, etc. And he's somebody that other people want to essentially be like. I mean, to put it bluntly, is the guy that other women want to be with and other men want to be, if I'm going to put it very simply.
What about you, Fresh? What do you say about this?
So the term high value, the word itself, I get it. It's been used around.
Yeah, we hate using that term. We never use it. We actually never use that term.
Yeah.
Ever. I hate it.
But it means something in the world today, so we use it sparingly. But I would say high value man.
I mean, like the main motherfuckers that use that shit though. Like I learned that shit. I heard that shit first from these niggas. Like high value, like man, I've heard that from these niggas. Like that's like one of their main topics of discussion. Probably not. I ain't listened to them in a long time. Like sit right there and listen to their podcast in a long time. But like, they definitely was the first motherfuckers I heard really put that shit out there.
Intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing what you're saying out the window.
Yeah.
Fresh, were you gonna say something?
No. I was gonna just define high value for me.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
So it just means a man that has worked on himself. He's successful in his own right. Has a network of people around him that care about him and respect him, and at the same time has value to the marketplace. For example, maybe it could be singing, it could be, for example, his business, it could be, for example, his skill set to the public. Whatever that may be, makes him high value in the eyes of other people as a whole. That's what I would say.
Would you say that, and this is a question to both of you, is this an intrinsic classification or is it extrinsic? In the sense that if it's intrinsic, then, for example, like a block of gold, it has intrinsic value.
All right, number one, I'm gonna say this. In my personal opinion, it can be an overall perspective of how you view the world at the end of the day, which is true. But in real life game, all right, it's somewhat what they said, but just to really clarify and how I perceive it, what they see as a high value man is somebody with status and money, basically. That's how they see it, right? But how I see it, it's somebody who really can essentially has access to get what they want out of life, right? If you are a person who has a hobby, right? If you're a person that aims to be elite at the hobby and you are at like the top tier of that hobby, you are considered a high value man. I mean, in my eyes. If you're a motherfucker who can conversate and connect with people by being yourself, not faking it, not pretending it, by being yourself, you are a high value man. If you are a person that can connect with women, you know what I'm saying, and actually have connection with women, have connection with people, where you are being yourself, you are truly a high value man. Now, of course, in society, you can fake it till you make it, right? And this is where the disconnect really happens, because they got something called tricking. They got something called faking it till you make it. They got something called, being a liar, right? You can lie your way to success. You ever sit right there and you watch Mr. Organic? He talk about how he literally lies to success. How he has lied, or has put off an image that which has led to him being successful. Right? Now, in the reality of this shit, man, if you really good, if you have something that you're good at, one, if you know how to connect with people, two, and if you have your own, kingdom, you got your own place, you can do all of that shit and be perceived as highly valuable in everybody's eyes that's around you. Versus you can be a guy with a lot of money, with a lot of status, and be undervalued by everybody in your immediate life. You see what I'm saying? If you are like for instance, for a prime example, they little date. I'm always using this example because it's the only times they actually sat down to talk to women. If you look at their date, this goofy motherfucker right here, he's a friendly motherfucker. I'm not saying that he ain't an intelligent individual motherfucker who know how to get the money, who know how to work the internet, and really know how to be very influential when it comes down to social media and things like that. Can't take that away from him. But when it comes down to women, you can tell how he is a person who simply gets used for his resources. For the resources. That's it. For his resources. That can be in plenty of things. Knowledge, material things and shit, probably access to get you more status. He has that. But the thing about him is that he can't really get a true connection, at least while on a dating. I'm just using him for example. I don't really know him, but off of what I've seen on the internet, he's the type of motherfucker that can talk to a lot of people, but never get past that hey bro, you really my nigga type relationship. He don't get to those, hey you, and not just you really my nigga, but the actions that come behind the you really my nigga type vibe. Whereas like everybody I talk to always tells me that I have the most intellectual conversations. Every woman that I talk to usually says that they can be themselves around me. They never felt like they can be submissive around me. If y'all watch my content, y'all know that I usually go for women that are very dominant. I like to make dominant women submissive. So if this is the whole thing of how my life and how I look at it, you got to understand how I'm, when it comes down to him, he's a friendly guy. A dominant woman is going to always take advantage of him. He's not going to, even though he has a lot of value, but they're going to more say take from him more than he's, that he gets from them. So it's honestly a balance of being able to get and being able to receive. Right? And give. It's not just I have a lot to give and that's why I'm high value. No, you got to be able to motherfucker who can really take some shit too. If you can't take nothing, then you honestly not really that valuable because you can't really take anything from anybody. You have to be valuable in my eyes. You got to be able to take some shit. Like if, for example, if you are a motherfucker who really good at a hobby and in your hobby you are elite at the hobby, but you trying to be the elitist. For you to take that elitist spot, you have to be extremely fucking valuable to take that from somebody who's above you. You have to be really that good. So in a competitive atmosphere, what I'm saying is, when it comes down to other people around you, how good are you at still being the top dog with the same playing field? When she was on a date with him, she said, I like great men. Right? And everybody was like, oh, she likes street niggas. Yes. Because to be in the street, you have to know how to deal with people. You have to know how to handle people. You have to know how to handle your surroundings. Right? That's honestly why everybody who is street smart always going to come off like they're a little bit aggressive, because that's really how you handle shit. Right? For instance, Myron has a motherfucker who has money, has the network, has the connections. But no one, if you ever listen to people actually talk about Myron, they're not really talking about Myron. They're just talking about all the things that are around Myron. Same thing with him. He doesn't really talk about, you know, he may even express experiences, but you don't really have a real, you know, when you listen to Myron, you don't really think, oh man, I really can connect with this guy, because he's always coming from a preaching standpoint. You know, it's not really a him, my experiences, my things that I'm going through. No, it's just literally just his perception. That's it. That's all he talks about. And you don't even know if it's really his perception, because he has no real examples. So there's no real way to connect with him. You see what I'm saying? So if you know how to make you connect with everything around you, and to get what you want, and to take what you want, and get what you want out of life, you don't necessarily even you don't even necessarily have to work as hard as somebody who really puts their all and puts all their time and all their energy and all their efforts and all their focus to acquire something, because you understand that it doesn't really take that much energy. It just takes a bit of understanding. You know, it takes a bit of, you know, learning from somebody. It takes a bit of listening to somebody. Now, I'm not saying these guys don't have value, but I'm saying for me to perceive as a high value, a truly high value person, as somebody who really can have access to everything around him. That's, most guys ain't that. Most guys that got money ain't even that. You know what I'm saying? I always look at it for a best example. If you ever a guy who watched Suits, look at Harvey Specter and look at the little hamster looking motherfucker, Lit. Lewis, I think his name Lewis Lit. Look at Lewis Lit, and then look at Harvey. Everybody in the whole community knows both of them. They know both of them. Well, more people know Harvey than they do him. But they know Harvey from Harvey being Harvey. They know Lewis Lit from his wins. You know what I'm saying? From literally his wins. But they know Harvey from like, oh yeah, he wins, he does this, he's a flashy guy. They know Harvey. They heard about Harvey Specter, who he really is. His name has a whole lot more force behind it than Lewis Lit, even though they're in the same office, even though they're in the same position in the office. Harvey is going to have a lot more weight behind it, because it has a real attachment. It's real. It has a real connection to you, right? Another example. If you ever look at politically, I'm just gonna be honest, man. Only reason why I relate to. I gotta think about a good one, a really good one. It's just a different one. My whole point is that it's different when you really can just stand on your own 2 feet and get what you want. Versus, of course, you're gonna have to work your ass off regardless to get things that are really valuable. But when you are actually, truly a great person, you know how to really move to get access to everything. I really don't know how to explain this to y'all, because it's more to it than what I'm saying. But the overall point is there's a difference between somebody who's great. A person that's great can be poor. A person that's great can be middle class. A person that's great can be rich. A person that's great can have a bare minimum network. A person that's great can have a great network. But the thing that makes them great is that they know how to get full access to what is around them. And they can consistently do it. Not sometimes, they can consistently do it. Motherfuckers like this. You know what? One of the guys that I used to watch, not too much now, but I used to watch, is Prime Time Hitler. Look at how he moves versus how these guys move. They probably have more money than Prime Time Hitler. Probably. I don't know. I don't know their pockets. But they got connections in Dubai and all kind of shit. So they definitely have a bigger network, if not anything, than Primetime Hitler. Or a more expensive network than Primetime Hitler. But if you look at the way that Primetime Hitler moves, he has more access to the people and the things that are around him than they do. If they get access for the benefit that they get from it. These motherfuckers literally just want to be around Primetime Hitler. Literally. Right? It's a different kind of thing. And these are guys, and I'm not just talking about fanboy guys. I'm talking about guys who actually have something to bring to the table. And they still have actual relationships where they still have actual access to women. They still have access to money, have access to wherever they really want. That is a high value man. Every man can't do that. They can't. Every man can be rich, fellas. Every man can be rich, but not every man can really be highly valued by everybody around them. I'm trying to give y'all the game. Motherfucker can have a diamond watch on. Motherfuckers looking like, damn, he got a diamond watch. He got money. Motherfucker have nothing on, and billionaires look at the motherfucker like he the best thing. A dude can be a millionaires can look at this guy like he's the best thing since sliced bread with a fucking hoodie on. From simply talking to him. Now, of course, it depends on the perspective. Some people love money than they do actual, love itself. So it's all about your perspective.
But let's say, for example, that let's say a TikToker, yeah, doing some kind of a video dancing or something like that. You couldn't say that has intrinsic value, but its value is dictated by the marketplace. So is your classification of a high value man, is it more intrinsic or extrinsic in that sense?
So I would say it's up to the individual because I made a song, High Value Man, funny song by the way. But the term itself, high value, was used as a precursor for wearing watches and chains and having success, cars and girls. But that was my opinion at the time of what high value was. But as you evolve, you become more placed on different aspects of life. And maybe for you, maybe just a TikToker dancing on the internet with a lot of views. So I think it's just up to the person or individual what they decide for that to be.
I mean, it's a combination.
See, I've got a take on this, guys. I don't know what you guys think of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
No, go ahead.
We got you.
Yeah. Sorry. So I was gonna say, look, I get what you guys are saying, especially when you speak about men and women. Yeah. But here's my take on this. I think there's a kernel of truth in what you guys are saying, but I think it's mostly in the economic marketplace. So, for example, here's what I would say: when you guys use the term high value, you're usually using it in terms of what women would be attracted to, i.e., vis-a-vis something like hypergamy. And there's ample evidence.
Which is simping, by the way. If you get everything you want if you're doing everything that you want to get women, you a simp.
There's a Queen study, which I think is the most authoritative, that hypergamy is true. Like in the sense that if a woman is given a choice between a man with ceteris paribus, everything else remaining the same, a man who's a higher earner versus a lower earner, she's always going to go for the higher earner, in fact. And that's the truth. Likewise, a lot of the stuff about what you say about women who have less experience in what you call a body count or something like that.
I'm going to go ahead and cut them off right there. That shit is not fucking true. It's not true. It's not true. You can hear it in movies. You can hear it on the news. You can hear it from comedians. You're going to hear it from TV shows. You're going to hear it in porn. You're going to hear it in everything. Where there's guys who do not have shit. And their wives leave them for a guy with less things. Like this. Listen, on a grand scale, and I'm not even going to ignore this. On a grand scale, yes. On a grand scale, yes. Motherfuckers with more money are going to attract more women. Because women are attracted to material things. But the reason why these motherfuckers can't keep these women is because they don't have real substance. They don't know how to break a woman down. They don't know how to, no disrespect to any ladies that's listening, but they do not know how to teach women how to be better women. They don't know how to tell women to play their role. They don't know how to express themselves. They have no real fucking substance. So when you watching these motherfuckers and you looking at these motherfuckers, really pay attention to, okay, how much of this can just really be duplicated? Like, alright, listen, all this shit that I'm breaking down, right? You can duplicate it, you can say exactly what I'm saying, but you can miss the overall point of what I'm saying through and throughout the whole fucking video. And no one can compose this shit every fucking 2 minutes and give you a full breakdown of why something is wrong. Because it comes from somewhere from my personal fucking experiences. Right? I have dealt with women that are lawyers, that are doctors, that are have their own businesses, and they fuck with me when I didn't have shit. I didn't have shit, and they were still fucking with me. The difference was, it still is, because I'm gonna lie, I always got more niggas with more money than me. So the difference is that I know how to connect with them. The reason why job interviewers love to hire motherfuckers, or should I say businesses love to promote motherfuckers with with who just come on the scene, they make a little bit of moves, they make a little bit of noise, versus the guy who's been working every day for the past 10 years, and the new guy get the promotion, and the guy who's been working there don't get the promotion, is because he does not have real game. He don't have no real game. It's not real. It can be duplicated. You can be duplicated. The experience can't be taken away from you. Don't get it fucked up. But so you're valuable, but you can't really. You can only give. You see what I'm saying? You can only give. If you want to be in a motherfucker who in a high position, you have to be able to take some shit. You have to be able to take it. If you like a person that's a leader, he goes around, he navigates through the world, navigates through society as a leader. He has his own following, he has his own team. You have to be able to take opportunities or make opportunities. When you have no game, it's hard to believe that you can do that if you don't know how to express it. Not saying that they ain't valuable, but the whole point is that y'all, if you ain't getting it now, I'll explain this shit.
It's true that's probably in the market, sexual market value is probably going to be less ceteris paribus, everything else remaining the same. Mm-hmm. However, here's the thing that I would think that is important to make a distinguish between. This is why I asked you the question about like intrinsic versus extrinsic, because in this very strict parameter of how the other or the opposite gender sees that person for marriage or long-term committal relationship or even casual relationship,
shouldn't be for money.
That this whole high-value man has weight. This term has weight. But if we're talking about intrinsically, as like, for example, remember I gave you the example of the block of gold versus the TikTok video. Intrinsically, a high-value man has always classically meant, usually in ethics, for example, all the way up to Christian morality and Islamic morality and Jewish morality, most of the world's cultures, a high-value man or a high-value woman has always been like a virtuous man or a virtuous woman. So virtue dictates the value of someone on an intrinsic level. Virtue. So what is virtue? Like in the past, even before Christ, you had a person called Aristotle, who died 323 BCE. He wrote a book called Nicomachean Ethics. And he had something called virtue ethics, which basically like he mentioned some of the key virtues for human beings. The most important one for a man that makes him high value, opposite to a woman, and this is what I'm putting forward, in that paradigm, and also in the paradigm of Islam and Christianity, I would argue, and Judaism, is bravery. I'll put it this way. If you had the most rich man in the world, but he was a coward, he'd not be a high-value man. It would be a disqualifier.
Written communication plays a huge part in every aspect of our working life. Grammarly is a tool.
And I agree. Because you really got to be able to take some shit. Like, you got to be able to take something and create something. If you cannot take something or you cannot create something, you are not fucking valuable. Like, if let's say you look at this shit like a job. You look at this shit out here like a job. You basically essentially working a job, bro. You know what you got to do and you're doing it. Versus you saying, okay, I'm doing this job, now I'm about to outsource here, and I'm about to go over into this business meeting, I'm just going to shit on, I'm about to go ahead, I'm about to just do my thing and take over this whole thing. And everybody going to know my name, everybody in this room going to know my fucking name before I leave out of here. Now, you got that kind of mindset now, they going to know your name, what they know you for. But if you a motherfucker who literally just came in there, and you have no fucking substance, and you just made a bunch of noise, you gonna be remembered as a goofy motherfucker, or a motherfucker that's basically that come off like a bitch. You have no substance, bro. You have no real. Nothing about you is really worth grasping, bro. Nothing is worth having outside of what you have. And it come it come universally. Whether it come from you having experience, you having certain skills, you having certain amount of money, it is universal. But at the end of the day, if you are a motherfucker who can rely on yourself to get what you want out of life, out of everything, you're a different kind of motherfucker. Because you gotta be. You have to be. Because only way you can get shit from out of being yourself and relying on only yourself, you have to be a fucking somewhat of a monster. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you gotta be a monster. Like, you gotta be able to look at something and like I remember like a girl told me like you talking like you Apex or something, like you a fucking like you talking about stalking a prey, or like a predator. I don't remember what the conversation was, but I was like, you know what, it's almost like I understand if you was to call me the Apex or whatever. I understand what you're saying. And man, even my homeboy, we was talking about how we going in, we hunting shit down. We are hunters. We hunt shit down. We talk about that, right? My uncle, he talk about how you gotta grab the opportunities by the neck and pull it up the tree, and that's your food for the night. That's how you supposed to take every opportunity, every situation. You're supposed to look at every situation, every problem. You're supposed to solve it that way. It's supposed to always be presented to you in that way, as in you can just take it and basically feed yourself from it. You have to have a somewhat of that kind of mindset when it comes down to everything around you. You gotta have somewhat of a primal kind of mindset when it comes down to that. Most guys ain't got that, bro. Just look around, bro. Most guys don't have that kind of mindset. They don't have it in them. So because they don't have it in them, you can only look at certain people when it comes down to having that mindset. Not saying they don't have value. That's not what I'm saying. It's a different kind of value, though. It's a value where you put them in a room, they gonna figure out how to survive. You put a motherfucker that I'm talking about in a room, he gonna take they shit and then survive still, and then he gonna take they shit too. It's a different kind of mindset. They ain't got that many guys like that. They not like that. So if they not like that, you gotta really look at it for what it is. He's not a fucking high value person. Now, in my eyes, a virtuous woman, talking about a person with a high morals and shit like that. That goes into it too, because you have to have principles. You have to live by a certain standard, certain codes for you to get shit out of life. But at the end of the day, you gotta live by it, and to live by those principles, by those rules, you have to be, like he said, brave, disciplined. You gotta you gotta be somewhat fucking ruthless, because sometimes you ain't gonna feel like doing it, and motherfuckers around you, we talking about just a person. You ain't gonna feel like doing it, or you ain't gonna feel like following that rule, or you gonna, it's gonna be like, damn, I really gotta follow this rule. You gonna be a little, anxious, but because you gotta follow that rule. Different emotions gonna come from that. That's why niggas become ruthless, because when you know how to handle your own fucking emotions, and you follow your principles, no matter how you feel, you become ruthless, bro. You'll stop giving a fuck. You stop giving a fuck about a lot of shit. That all goes into the mind process. This motherfucker care about what people think. This motherfucker is a friendly man who can be with a woman and just talk to her on some friendly shit, and that's it. Just helping her out nonstop. What in that is beneficial to him outside of emotionally? You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm getting at, man. You ain't gotta be a motherfucker that's rich, famous. You ain't gotta be a motherfucker that's a fucking goofball. If you not, you just be yourself and go for what you want. And you gonna now you gonna fuck up a lot, but that's a part of it. That's really a part of it. Like it's non-stop failure, bro. It's non-stop. But most motherfuckers don't really have that non-stop failure. Even though I fall, even though I fuck up, still keep going in them. They ain't got that dog, bro.
On an intrinsic level, yes, he might be sought after it might be sought after in terms of like women might still want to be with him, but they don't really want to be with him because of what he is or who he is. They want to be with him because of what he can offer. In other words, they want to be with his money, really. They want to have access to his money. So they're using him, utility value. Yeah, they're using him for his money because they're trying to access funds. That's what they're trying to do. He's basically an ATM machine. And so what I wanted to distinguish between is a high value man on an intrinsic level who exhibits things like temperance, magnanimity, forgiveness, mercy, kindness, but most and chief most among which is bravery, because a man needs bravery more than a woman to provide and protect.
So yeah. I would agree with that. But my thing is that's why I was because you only spoke about it from the female lens, like how women deem.
Nigga, he said your lens. He said your lens. You see this? You know, people who are deceptive, they know how to like. That's why you gotta really be focused. You gotta really be paying attention to people. Cause motherfuckers, y'all be defending niggas like this, bro. Y'all be defending niggas that be so quick that they got the quickest fucking lie, bro. You see, like. He said, how do you view it? He said, you go first. You go first. No, you tell it. Well, you know, everybody's perspective is different, but this is that's what he said. That's what they both said. These niggas, they clowns, bro.
Like women deeming the guy high value. But what I'm saying is that you garner the respect of other men, and a coward does not garner the respect of other men. That's why it's very important. Like when I look at this term, not to just look at it from the lens of what females are attracted to, rather what do other men respect? And obviously cowardice is never respected. So yeah, if someone's a coward, then they automatically are disqualified because other men don't respect them. They can have all the money in the world, but they're a coward. So I see a perspective with virtue, but I'm saying, like, you know, it's pretty much already implied that you're a virtuous man and that you're not a coward when other men respect you, because men, we tend to value other men.
Cancel that shit. Cancel that. Cancel it. Cancel it. Let me tell you exactly why this shit is canceled. And I'm in the military. Now, everybody in the military, I got out of the military, you know, congratulations to me. Goddamn. But think about this shit, man. A captain. Everybody know captain is supposed to be the most respected person that you've ever known. It's a respectful position, right? People who don't know him are going to respect him because he's a captain. People going to respect you when you drive a Benz because the first impression that you make, they going to automatically respect you. But when they get to know you, it's a different thing. That's why you can't go off the majority. Because majority of niggas is bitches. Majority of people is followers. So you can't really say, oh, well, I got majority respect of men, so that's like, no. You got a lot of motherfuckers who respect you just because you got money. Just because you have status, they will respect you just off that. They have the utmost respect for you just off that. Just off that. Just off that alone. Most men are like that. So what is he talking about?
Men based on their meritocracy, and that meritocracy is, you know, encapsulated in a bunch of...
Man, they got dudes who get respected just because they with a girl who fine. This is why, man.
Different traits. Are you honest? Are you a man of your word? Are you trustworthy? Can I trust you to get something done and get it done when you say you're going to get it done? Are you not? Are you willing to stand up for not just yourself but for other people that you love and care about? So cowardice has never been respected. So I would say that the virtue that argument that you're making, which I agree with actually, falls into the other men respecting you, because that's what men respect is meritocracy.
Well, I see what you're saying, but here's the thing. So this is an interesting parameter, but it's also an economic one. So for example, I agree with what you said. I think like other men would respect another man with a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
They would never respect a man who's a coward, even if he has a lot of money.
Yeah.
So here's the point. I think that a lot of the red pill stuff, like that, we get in.
How would they know if they don't know what respect is themselves? How would they know? See what I'm saying? How would they know? If they don't know what respect is themselves, how do they know that this person can be disrespected? This person is a bitch. This person is, well, I mean, let me chill out. This person doesn't deserve my respect. This person is weak. this person is dumb. This person is manipulative. This person is a liar. This person is a backstabber. Now, of course, you can treat them all with respect. I'm not saying that. But how would you be able to recognize those characters if you don't know yourself? Because it's all in you. You have a weak side. You have a pussy side. You have all that shit is in you. I don't give a fuck who you are. It comes out in one way or another because you're a human being. It's all in you. How do you now? Of course, we got principles to basically live by. So, you know, we know when it is the case. But at the end of the day, how would you be able to recognize it in other people if you can't recognize it in yourself? You see what I'm saying? Man, let that
involved in and stuff.
If it go over your head,
so the discussions that we have, we overemphasize how much money we have to make in order to satisfy or to attract other women, and we underemphasize the virtue aspect of it.
Welcome to Flatiron School. This is where you learn how the future works. Where the whole point of
when you are virtuous, the money don't really matter that much no more.
And I'm not saying that the money aspect of it is not important. I'm pretty sure that the money aspect of it is important, especially depending on how generous the man.
Not saying you ain't got to be able to take care of your family, your kids. That's me personally. That's my. You gotta be able to do that. You gotta be able to take care of your family, yourself, your kids. You can't be a leech in society. You gotta be a man. But it's not as important as these motherfuckers make it. These motherfuckers got niggas not even shooting a shot because they think they ain't good enough. That's what I got a problem with. Like, you'd be surprised how many niggas be like, man, she got money, bro. I ain't trying to. Man, look how fine she is, bro. Yeah, she fine, but I don't know if I should, man. I don't know. She might not fuck with me. There's so many niggas who disqualify themselves because they stay thinking about what y'all saying.
And it's because if the man is not generous, and which is one of the virtues, having a lot of money is not a problem. It doesn't matter. Even the woman, if she finds him to be stingy and wealthy, that combination will never work out because she knows what he's trying to do. So I feel like maybe, I don't know, moving forward with like Fresh and Fit and stuff, if we focus on the virtue aspect of things a little bit more, because I feel like the society is moving on to a degenerate state, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. And that is fueled by hedonism and capitalism, and also this idea that now Mammoth is the new god, which is the god of money. The god of money is the new god. People are now chasing money and hedonism and frivolous pursuits. They think that, for example, Rollo Tomasi wrote a book called The Rational Male, right? Mm-hmm. You've had him on your show before. I've read the entire book cover to cover. And he mentions in his book that, you know, you need to sleep with 50 women or whatever it may be in order to achieve certain level so you can really have the experience, yeah, to be with women. I think I've seen you, Fresh, mention something like that before because I watched a video before with you guys in Sneaker having a discussion.
Yeah, we've Fresh calls it spinning, not Fresh, excuse me. Rollo calls it spinning plates or plate theory.
Yeah.
He's 50.
I call it getting experience, right, and being able to understand how the sexual marketplace works. But yeah, I mean, sorry, you were saying?
But on this point, bro, here's what I would say.
Yeah.
There is no evidence that having sex with a lot of women translates into an ability to understand women in the context of a committed relationship.
That's what I was waiting. I was going to say that. That's why I was going to say that.
Or longevous relationship. There is no evidence of that.
I was going to say that too.
This is where the red pill makes a lot of claims, assertions, but they're not backed, because the idea is, I feel like there's just ad hoc justifications and rationalization for hedonism, which is effectively just doing whatever you want, whatever you desire. But really, like, let us assess this claim, the claim that if you have sex with a lot of women, that's going to lead to you knowing women more and therefore having a stronger relationship, more longevous relationship with some kind of woman. But it doesn't seem to me that there's any evidence to that effect, because I was looking at some studies on casual sex. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was looking at, there's like 5 or 6 of them that have been done. And all of those studies, first of all, they're mixed. They're contradictory, funny enough. Some of them say that, yeah, they harm women. Actually, most of them say they harm women. Casual sex harm women. That is a consensus psychological finding.
It harms men too. A lot of these studies, but it doesn't harm it.
Some of them say it harm.
Listen, me personally, I believe the more you understand women, all right, number one, be honest. Number one is more harmful to women long term. All right, it's more harmful to women long term. Long term, because if you're a woman who sit down and you really try to have casual sex all the time, I'm gonna say, yeah, I don't know, and I enjoy casual sex, but I do believe if I had a daughter and she was having casual sex and she like 25, she's still having casual sex. Honestly, if a woman 23, 22, I'm just being honest from like if I had a sister type perspective, that shit'll do more harm to her than they do good, because that's her most likely chance to finding all the good niggas, like 22, 23, and like living through her like her late 20s to 30s with somebody. It's like that 22, 23's point. Like that's the time when you really need to cut that shit out. In my personal experience, if I had like a sister or something, I tell her to cut that shit out when she hit 22, 20. When she hit 21, I tell her she need to start trying to find somebody for real. But for guys, I think that the more you understand women, the more likely it is for you to actually, have a long relationship or get more women. Because when you understand women, you realize what you actually need to be doing, what you need to be focusing on, the actual things that matter and what don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because women don't know what matter, what don't matter half the time. You know what I'm saying? They'll combat you on some shit that don't matter. They'll argue with some shit that don't matter. If you the type of motherfucker that I don't argue with women for real. I debate with them, but I'm not finna argue. So, if you are the type of motherfucker that do all that, you know what I'm saying? You honestly don't understand women well enough to actually get them, one, and two, to be in a relationship with them. Because you can lie your ass off and get in some draws. You can lie your ass off and you in that motherfucker. You can lie. You can friendly your way in it and wait on a bad day. But if you understand women, you understand that being friendly to a woman is like, there are thousands of women, millions of women. And it's honestly a waste of fucking time. It's a game of chance regardless. If she fuck with you, she gonna fuck with you. If she not, she not. It's a game of chance regardless. You be a motherfucker who lie, but honestly, bro, you kind of fucking over yourself, because you sacrificing yourself to get women, which means that you basically fucking over yourself to even get a chance to understand them for real. You know what I'm saying? So being virtuous definitely is a big indicator of, in my eyes, a high value man, because you are like a motherfucker who actually is. You are you type of motherfucker who actually gonna go down the correct path more times than not. Are you deceptive? You lie. It's hard for you to even see the full picture. You're not gonna see the full picture. You're not gonna understand shit. Not really. Not to the core of it. If you're a friendly motherfucker, you are dancing on the surface. Both of them surface level things, but they both bad, honestly. But if you're a virtuous guy, you can always get past all that shit. So I think understanding women from a guy's perspective is more important than having what a woman think that you should have. Because women will not care. If you really that guy, she not gonna care. If she look at you like you really that guy, she not gonna care. She not gonna care. Trust me. They don't give a fuck when they think you really that guy. If you really connect with her, she not gonna care. If you really turn her on, you know how to make her mad, you know how to make her laugh, you know how to, if she ever having a bad day, you know how to cheer her, you know how to do all that, you know how to bring it all to the table. When you really know how to do everything for that specific woman, she don't give. I promise you, she not gonna give a fuck. But that all comes with understanding. You gotta understand women. Me personally, you don't need to have us. And you understand women, you realize that a lot of women will want to have sex. They'll want to have sex with you more than you do them on a more consistent basis off of you understanding women. I promise you.
genders are harmed.
Some of them say it doesn't harm men.
Yeah, both of them
There's no study that says it helps them in relationships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course not. And they would never run a study like that because it would be considered unethical, right? And we know that, you know, when they run these studies, they have to be politically correct. They got to get funding. They have to do it in a certain way to get the blessing. But what I will say is...
Thank you again. I know we just talked through a lot. So why don't you give the rest of the team a quick call and just catch them up to speed? Phone call?
It be nerds talking to nerds. The law's talking to the lost. They don't be having nobody in the room that really can go bag a bunch of bitches. It be the lost following the lost. And bagging them is one thing. Like, fucking them is one thing. But bagging women, like having like a team, that's a whole nother game. That's a whole nother game. Because you can fuck a bunch of women. I promise you, bro. You go to a club, they ready. You meet a woman in Walmart, every once in a while, you going to meet a slut in Walmart. You go to the park, every once in a while, you going to run into a slut. You go anywhere, you going to run into some sluts. You go into some fucking sluts. But to have women on your team, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother ball game, bro.
With the whole body sleeping with women or whatever it may be, it's not necessarily to understand women better. It's to understand the women that you don't want to necessarily be with. And I think that's half the game, because what ends up happening, right, and remember, I mean, you're in the UK, so you know this too. I mean, the UK is going through this as well. We live in a very hypersexualized world where women are more promiscuous than ever before. So my thing is, right, I look at it like, and I was just having a discussion with Andrew. He's a devout Orthodox Christian, and he saw my perspective on this too. If you're gonna try to meet a woman in the West where they are promiscuous, they don't necessarily adhere to gender roles when it doesn't benefit them. They want a man that makes money, but they don't want to necessarily submit, etc. I think it's very important for you as a man to identify these women early on and not bring them into your life, because the beauty of religion, right, whether it's Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, is that it basically had an institution of shame, and it had what I call training wheels to keep women honest with their man. It pretty much shamed them for not doing things that they were supposed to do. But these training wheels are effectively gone. We live in a secular world now. And unless you're a very religious man and you're meeting a very religious woman, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a woman that's virtuous. So my thing is, I think and the other reason why I think this is so important is because when you get married, right? Luckily, in Islam, you can just go to a mosque, go to an imam, he'll marry you, boom, done. You don't got to worry about the state being involved. But most people don't get married that way. They get married through the state. And with the way the family courts are set up, with the way divorce is set up, with the way it's basically an entire industry against men, I look at it like, if you're going to go ahead and you want to have a family one day, which is the nuclear family, which is the backbone of society, and you want to get married, you are taking on a tremendous amount of risk, and I don't want you to go in blind. However, if you're getting married and the state isn't involved and there's no severe consequences to you financially, then sure, go ahead and be less sexually experienced and meet a woman, because at least you're not going to be severely punished for it. But my thing is, the reason why I even gave that idea, like, hey, get with more women so that you understand them, is because I just don't want men to deal with the horrors of the family court. Now, is it the best solution? Probably not, but I think it's a pragmatic one given the world that we're in now.
I think if you aim to understand women, you'll understand the ones that's here for a good time and the ones that's here for a long time. If you just really listen to them, bro, just listen to them. I promise you. Some women that tell you and test them too. Test them. You gotta test them. Like, you gotta listen to what they saying, because sometimes you can just listen. You can hear a lie. You can hear a lie if you really listening. You can hear somebody lying. 1, 2, you can see what add up to the actual person, and if it really add up to what they saying overall. Because at the end of the day, if you listen to me and you look at what I'm doing, you look at what I'm saying, you can put the piece together. You can see whether or not I'm telling the truth if you actually sit down and you listen. Versus you having somebody else, they lying, like these motherfuckers. I need to start actually recording some of my phone calls and shit. I don't really like doing that shit. I'm a private nigga. I don't like people in my business. But I'm gonna have to do it like on a kind of spectrum. But if you sit me down in front of a woman, I'm going to break her down by having a regular conversation with her. Right? That's the difference between somebody who actually understands women and somebody who don't. All right, because if a motherfucker lying, you know the woman is for you. If she not lying, and she being truthful, now all women lie. She gonna lie about something. She gonna lie about something. She might lie about some stupid shit that's unnecessary that she ain't even gotta lie about. She gonna lie about something. Women lie. Women lie. So alright, it is what it is. I don't make the rules to the game. Women lie. Alright. But you can match out which women is really meant for a relationship by just really handing out different things. I'm gonna make a video off that. I ain't trying to make.
Yeah.
So what? No, here's the thing. I just want to know what the evidence is of, for example, having intercourse with multiple women. What benefit, like let's say 50 or 30, what benefit are you alleging that it has on the man?
No,
what benefit are you alleging?
So that's a fair question. Every man has different competence, right? So like one guy might be able to hook up with 10 girls and be like, okay, you know what, I get it. Like I don't, it is what it is. But another guy, might be incompetent, might be an idiot. Everyone's